DJing techniques when producing. What do we do with the records? How do we add it in? For me, I always incorporate some element of DJing when I'm making beats, because essentially it's all just sound. So So like while I'm playing the beat, like maybe I'll just add this in just because out of the gate, like I'll just take this little crowd.
Thank you very much, you're beautiful, thank you.
And then I'll scratch it, so.
Thank you.
We'll get the tempo. I'm trying to just catch the tempo. I'm gonna stop the beat and sample it. And I'll sample it now.
Thank you very much.
And I could ask, what's the cut? If I'm gonna do that, I'm only gonna do it once. And I could put it right here. I'm always like, if I'm gonna add music, I'm gonna cut it in. Another trick is you take all the bottom and the mids out, and then just maybe I just want to get some percussion. See, now I'm only getting that. So I'll just play different things and scratch them in. And then sometimes I'll just take little pieces. And so really what I'm doing is I'm trying to simulate what a DJ would be doing to give it that live feel of like those Park Jam records where they were just like playing a record and the next one was getting queued up a little off beat, or, you know, I'm a fan of that, the little bit of sloppiness, so it's not perfect. I think the scratching element is really that. Because you can kind of like make a blend where it's not perfect. And I think that's a good trick. But yeah, adding sounds with the mentality of a DJ. Cutting in something, muting the thing, unmuting it. You know, this is all stuff that's embedded in us from listening to old tapes. And also think a lot about like old dub and like old reggae, and looking at old videos that they used to do. I think it's a very similar to when they used to play with their blends. It was like really kind of like without scratching, but it was very much like a DJ. So, you know, reverb, crazy plate delays, you know, all that stuff is things that you incorporate as a DJ when you're making music. I use the Techniques 1200 turntable. It's always been the one. I use an Ortofon needle, but it really, depending on what works for you, I wouldn't say these are the best, but I'm accustomed to them. So other needles may give you a better sound quality. For me, I like to keep it simple to what I know, so I stick with the Techniques 1200 or the Fun Rain Mixer, which is good because it's also compatible with Serato if you want to do that. And with here, it's got an EQ with 3 bands, which is super simple but very useful as well, because I do sample stuff while pre-EQing. Sometimes I'll add more bass to a kick, or I'll take out bottom, or adjust frequencies. So this combination is what I prefer. The cool thing about vinyl and sampling is being able the freedom of the pitch control. So I'm constantly switching stuff when I listen. Sometimes I'll even hit this to make it wobble.
Just a note.
So it's really about treating it just as noise and using the turntable as like an instrument to extract some noise from whatever record that you got. Having the freedom of pitch to change is real cool, because it's almost like tuning an instrument, like going lower or higher, especially if you have like a suspended note.
We wait to spend an evening. Can't think of anything.